Hello, sir. What can I get for you this evening? I've been looking at your menu and all these dishes are listed as new, but they look exactly the same as everything I've eaten here before. Well, people do love the classics. You can't really go wrong giving them what they know they'll like. Sure, yeah, okay, but what if I want something new? Doesn't the chef have something special up his sleeve that he's just dying to get on a plate? Well, to tell you the truth, we don't so much have chefs anymore as we do people who have never cooked a day in their lives. But they do a great chef impression. Great, huh? Mediocre. Is there no one in the kitchen who can make me something that I haven't already eaten? Well, we do have one guy who we hired as a dishwasher, but he keeps saying he wants to learn to cook, so he could whip something up for you, I suppose. Sure, why not? All right, if that's what you want. Yep. This sucks. Oh, so you hate new things now? No, I just want it to be good. Could you hire actual chefs, maybe? Best I can do is Chef GPT.
Yep, that's pretty much how it feels in Hollywood right now. Studios are piling on more and more safety blankets in the form of endless sequels, reboots, and live-action adaptations because they're at least 51% sure it'll turn a 5% profit. Audiences complain about the constant barrage of stories that we've already been told, and then when an original story flops at the box office, Hollywood defenders arrive at the front lines, Twitter, fully loaded with sound bites such as, oh, I guess you don't actually want original movies after all, and you need to go see this right now to support the new generation of storytellers. And look, I'm not going to pretend this dire situation isn't our fault as consumers. If no one went to see The Lion King, more realistic animated version, then Disney and company would in fact stop making these derivative heaps of sludge. But what I cannot stand is the implication or direct accusation that every single original story needs to be propped up just because it hasn't been told before. As it turns out, audiences do not go to the movies for the sake of novelty and novelty alone. I can't imagine that any consumer base in any industry has ever flooded to a new thing just because they haven't seen, eaten, ridden, or worn that thing before. So, why do people try new foods, visit new places, and watch new movies? Because they think they'll like them. I haven't seen Elio, the newest original movie from Pixar, but that's for a very good reason. It looks bad. I don't mean that the plot sounds dumb, or that I think I won't like the characters. I mean, it literally looks terrible. This doughy, overly round style of animation is extremely off-putting. Kids in Pixar used to look like this, and this. Now they look like this, and this. What happened, Pixar? Did you decide that art should be ugly, actually? How about we go back to things looking good and art styles not being amorphous and plump? That might actually bring in some customers who, if they do like that film, show, or video game, might just tell all their friends about it, and thus create new customers who will then go on to repeat the cycle. I call it word-of-mouth marketing. It's a revolutionary new concept. Of course, getting that avalanche started requires an actually unique and exciting product, which are seemingly few and far between these days, which I do believe is due to a dearth of genuine creativity within the storytelling industry. See, more and more original stories, Pixar's Turning Red, for example, aren't truly original. They're the product of someone writing what they know, and thus creating a story with an incredibly narrow reach and severely restricted imagination. This is, if you ask me, the result of the rise of postmodern thought, which generally rejects the idea of a single unifying human narrative and turns a person's focus inward, with one's own experience being essentially the only source of meaning. As a culture, our ability to imagine, to dream, to place ourselves in the shoes of someone who looks and acts nothing like us is diminishing in real time. And as much as I believe that, the evidence is barely convincing, I believe just as firmly that true creativity is not dead and will never die. We might just have to look a bit harder to discover it. I'm not even super picky about what is or is not original at this point. Sure, The Wild Robot was based on a book, but I'm a busy guy who is still working his way through the novel Shogun, and if you can do a good job adapting a 10+ hour read into a 2-hour movie that I can watch with my kids, I'm here for it. Most importantly, They executed that adaptation well. This movie is hilarious, it's heartwarming, it's got beautiful animation and delightful characterization.
You gotta die faster. Meningitis takes a while.
It's the best story about a robot learning to love a kid since Terminator 2. But if you really want to experience genuine innovation permeated with the highest standards of quality, then you might want to look away from Hollywood and toward the video game industry.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, admittedly, similar problems exist here too. But you can't play Red Dead Redemption 2 and not be awestruck by the sheer amount of effort and love that was poured into that game, from every minor voice line to all the countless random encounters you can experience while roaming the countryside. And yes, the game is a sequel, well, prequel, really, but I'm more inclined to give a pass to those as opposed to reboots and the oxymoronic reimaginings, as long as they have a unique story to tell and are not simply derivative of what came before. Looking at you, Force Awakens. The gaming space is also much kinder to indie developers and smaller publishers than our film and television, allowing them to more easily reach a wide audience. Game of the Year in 2021 was awarded to It Takes Two, whose developer Hazelight Studios employs only some 80 people. Imagine making a movie in the 2020s with fewer than 100 people. I would think that the number of people dedicated simply to catering in most Hollywood films is more than that. And of course, the latest hit from a similarly small development team is Claire Obscure Expedition 33, one of the best games I have played in the last, well, ever. And 90% of the reason that I'm making this video in the first place. The story, characters, themes, art styles, and every other aspect of Expedition 33 deserve, and will get, a much more thorough analysis in the future. But let me just take a few minutes to do that whole word-of-mouth marketing thing. This game absolutely drips quality, right from the very beginning where you are introduced to the soundtrack, which is guaranteed to worm its way inside your brain and force you to listen to it on repeat for the next month. Assuming you are unfamiliar with this game's story, let me summarize the premise real quick. You live in a broken and dying world, the population of your city being slowly erased one age at a time by the mysterious Paintress. The dozens of expeditions that Lumiere has sent out into the great unknown to destroy the Paintress and break the cycle of death have all failed, and it is now up to you, the members of Expedition 33, to forge ahead where so many had fallen. The number of meaningful, universally resonant themes that permeate this game's canvas cannot be understated. Hope versus despair, sacrificing for those who come after, the immeasurable power of familial love, the crushing weight of expectations, the seemingly endless battle against loss and grief. All that and more is present in the numerous character journeys which you experience firsthand. And if you didn't already know this about me, I'm a character guy. Just look at all my videos. Clearly, good characterization is the thing that I care most about in stories. Expedition 33 has it in spades. These men and women feel authentic. They speak and act like real people would if they grew up in a dystopian society where everyone of a certain age gets erased from existence once a year. Even in that horrific world, they seek what humans have always sought: meaning, purpose, belonging, friendship, and love. I'm not going to spoil anything about this game beyond what you can see in the trailer, so I won't go into detail. But the interactions between characters serves to highlight their personalities and the themes they carry in a beautiful and natural fashion. The main theme of the narrative is the motto of the expeditions.
Death comes to us all. Learn from the ones who came before.
And lay the trail for the ones who come after.
Although each expedition has failed, they continue to sail forth year after year because they believe that step by step, inch by inch, handhold by handhold, they carry the next expedition forward. This motif hits home for a number of reasons. One, because it speaks to the untarnished selflessness of the expeditions, who willingly sacrifice the last year of their already artificially shortened lives in the hope that one day others might not have to embark on that same fateful journey. In a world of instantly available dopamine hits, which we partake of far too readily and far too often, We need examples of people who look beyond today, who readily dispense of their own pleasure, well-being, and safety in order to give hope and life to future generations. 2. Because these expeditions and the painters against which they war provide a single unifying narrative around which the city of Lumiere can coalesce. As I said a minute ago, one of the many detrimental effects of postmodern thought is that it fractures us, making us retreat into ourselves, into our own individual realities, as it were. It's incredibly rare nowadays for us to have a unifying cause or cultural moment. In entertainment media, I would suggest the last one was Endgame. Barbenheimer got the closest since then, but that was more of an internet meme than an actual story that drew us all together. And we need those unifying threads because, well,
we're living in a society.
If we continue to allow ourselves to be shuffled off into our own little corners and sit on our own little chairs, we will fracture and die. Lumiere, despite the fact that it is being systematically wiped away, has a thriving community with every inhabitant, well, almost every inhabitant, feeling like they truly belong there, like the job entrusted to them is vital for the survival of all. And when your oldest members are in their early 30s, that sentiment is not remotely misguided. And 3, because I will never get sick of people commenting and memeing for those who come after.
For those who come after.
Never. But really, I love the dual meaning in that motto. The expeditions expect to die, but resolve to continue laying the trail that was already laid for them, so that future expeditions might make it farther than they did. But ultimately, the ones who come after are those not yet born, the boys and girls who will, the expeditioners hope, grow up in a world undarkened by the shadow of the painter's monolith. But I won't say any more about Expedition 33's story for the time being, because if you haven't already picked it up and you love beautiful art, relatable and well-crafted characters, and a story that will sit with you for weeks after you finish it, you definitely should. My wife has no real interest in playing video games, but even she wants to experience the story firsthand. All that to say, good original stories very much still exist. We just might need to stop going back to the same old dried up watering hole and the bottled water salesmen that have taken over there. That's a weird metaphor. And hey, maybe consumers will really begin demanding quality over familiarity, and Hollywood will actually listen. Stranger things have happened. But for now, your best bet might be an indie or AA video game, or a charming animated film with a budget barely 1/3 as big as that of Wish. How did that movie cost $200 million? How did Turning Red cost $175 million? Pixar made the original Toy Story in a cave.
With a box of scraps!
Anyway, don't feel like you are obligated to go see a new movie just to support original stories. Support good ones. Support the ones that really matter. Make Hollywood earn your dollar once again. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider joining my Patreon to support the channel's mission of spreading love and appreciation for the tales that live on in our minds, that we hold tightly in our hearts, and that dwell forever within our souls. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.